Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today's topic is going to be 5 targets for the New York Jets if they were to trade back. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast. You can get it wherever you listen to podcasts. It's also right here on the channel. And call in and leave me a voicemail as well, and I will answer them on the air. So what I wanted to do was look at 5 potential prospects the New York Jets could draft if they moved back. I'm not saying that at 11 you take these guys, but let's say a team wants to trade up for a Jerry Jeudy, or maybe a team is looking to trade up and get one of the quarterbacks, like if Herbert falls or if Jordan Love is there. 11 seems like a pretty good spot to be in order to get a team to want to move up for a player. So this is people who I think could go anywhere between 15 and the end of the first round. And I'd be comfortable taking any one of these guys depending on what the plan is. And I still think the New York Jets would be wise to take either a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. If you move back, maybe you can convince me on taking a C.J. Henderson, but other than that, and he doesn't make my list, spoiler alert, I still think it's important to take your 2 biggest needs, which is offensive line and wide receiver help. So coming in at number 1 on my list is someone the Jets expressed interest in, Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. Supposedly, pre-combine, the New York Jets were interested in him. He ran a 4.27 40-yard dash. He has blazing speed, 5'11", 188. He, I know, has more of a slot build, but can play on the outside as well. Kind of like a Tyreek Hill, really help you stretch the field. And it would be a ton of fun to watch both him and Perriman on the outside with Crowder in the middle. That is definitely an intriguing thing. And also, you got to remember that Adam Gase and Joe Douglas really preached speed. And if you want speed, look no further than Henry Ruggs. The second guy on my list, and this is in no particular order, it's just 5 guys. I said wide receiver and offensive lineman, so I'm starting with the wide receivers, then going to get to the offensive lineman. Justin Jefferson is someone that I would be comfortable with the New York Jets taking out of LSU. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6'1", 202, not as fast, but he's not particularly slow either. He has great ball skills. He's someone who can make contested catches, and that's something that a lot of people said Robbie Anderson couldn't do. So if you are trying to replace Robbie Anderson, that might be a nice start. Obviously, he's not as fast. That's why he brought in Perriman. One of his flaws, though, for Justin Jefferson is he lacks that separation speed. He is someone who is schemed open a lot, but he has really good hands. That could grow over time, getting past the press coverage and stuff like that, but that is maybe one of the few red flags with someone like Justin Jefferson. But he is someone who wins on athleticism, and if you're picking in anywhere from 20 to the end of the first round, I would definitely be comfortable taking Justin Jefferson. Now over to the offensive lineman, and outside the big 4, the next guy that I would like is Josh Jones, the offensive tackle from Houston. He's a big boy at 6'5", 319 pounds. He's big. He's strong, and he plays really aggressive, which is something that I like to see out of Josh Jones. One of his flaws is he's still a little bit on the raw side, could use a little bit more of development, so maybe what that means if you do draft him, you could play him on the right side for a year to help him get acclimated to the NFL instead of putting him on Sam Darnold's blind side right away. You could have him compete with Chuma Edoga, who I would fully expect Jones to beat out in a competition. Is he the perfect prospect? No, but he is definitely the 5th best offensive tackle, so I'm assuming all 4 of the big names are going to be gone by the time the Jets would pick if they were moving back, and Jones would be the next guy on my list. Next up is Austin Jackson, the tackle out of USC. Another big boy, 6'5", 322. He is above average athleticism, though. For his size, he's a really, really good athlete, which it makes him an enticing first-round prospect. His feet and technique are slightly an issue. He's still worthy of a first-round pick. He's someone that I would like to take from like 20 and beyond. I think if you're taking him in the teens, that's maybe a little bit of a reach. Still worthy of a first-round pick. Still has a first-round grade, but is not the best tackle in this draft class, obviously. But I would feel comfortable moving back and taking Jackson in the first round. I think I would. The last guy on my list is Ezra Cleveland, the offensive tackle out of Boise State. Shout out to Green Bean for this one. He said it on our show earlier this week, Talking Jets, on Jets Talk 24/7's channel. If you don't tune into that, you definitely should, and you should sub up both Jets Talk 24/7. Gangrene David, of course. and Green Bean over at Jets Nation. But he was really all over the Ezra Cleveland bandwagon. I think he's probably more of a second rounder, but I could get behind reaching for him at the back half of the first round if the other 6 tackles are gone. A pro, he's a really good run blocker. He's good in zone schemes, which I think would be really interesting to see him brought in and have them try to implement that in their offense to get Le'Veon Bell going. A con, he definitely needs to get better in pass protection, and the scouts say that he needs more strength. He's 6'6", 311. He could probably put on a little bit more muscle and a little bit more weight in order to make him a more well-rounded prospect. In the first round, I think it's maybe a slight reach. I have an early second round grade on him, but again, this is such a position of need that I would be okay with the New York Jets reaching slightly and drafting him rather than taking a position that doesn't hold as much value and maybe a little bit of a higher end prospect. That's my logic, at least behind the pick. Still, I think it's important to go offensive line or wide receiver in round 1 because they are both, like I said, such big needs. And we've done this whole draft the best player available, and that's how you end up with Leonard Williams and Quinnen Williams on your defensive line without them having a ton of impact. Honestly, Nathan Shepard, Folu Fatukasi, they were all better this year than what we saw out of Leonard Williams when he was here and Quinnen Williams, who was taken with the 3rd overall pick. You can get pretty decent value in the later rounds in undrafted free agency at that position, and a lot of other positions that I could see the Jets looking to go in round 1 if they do move back. But I would rather go with a prospect who's maybe not in the top 3 or 4 at their position if it's such a position of need like offensive line or wide receiver. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.